Good afternoon, colleagues. It is 246th day of heroic struggle of Ukraine. I'm Natalia Staroprava, and we are working from Mediacentrу Ukraine. We have online Olena Korobkova, chair of the board of the Independent Association of the Banks of Ukraine. Miss Olena, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you too. What can you tell about the conclusions and what are the changes in bank system of Ukraine for the on the 8 months of full-scale invasion? Well, the most important is that the state of bank sphere after 8 months of war is stable. Bank system is operating, and right now we do not see any reasons that can disbalance the stability of banks. Of course, we are facing some challenges. Our morning starts with negotiations, how the night was, and what are the news from the front line in order to broadcast the banking system, where to open the departments or not, and what territories should be renewed for opening of the departments. And for the 8 months of years of war, 38 percentages of establishments do not have any profit, and 24 billion of hryvnias, this is the income of the banks, and 26 establishments have received around 11 billions of losses, and correspondingly within the 8 months of war, banks 80%, 90% of banks had positive balance. It is quite clear that bank system today is not about profit at all. We all support each other, and we coordinate and restructure our departments, as well as we participate in the state programs on supporting of the bank systems, and this all influences the profit. And we all understand that our clients and our population is facing not quite a good condition, economical condition, and we know that 30% of businesses, just 30% of businesses has renewed their functioning, and that is why it is clear that banks are supposed to support their clients, to support rank and file citizens, and to help them every day, and to make our victory closer. And we see that several banks, especially the banks as Bank, are capable of declaring the profit. How do they manage to do this? How do they manage to declare their profit within the war condition times? Well, first, when it comes to Bank has quite a dispersed network of departments. They participate in many state programs. Even there are programs, and Bank is the first one to implement them. And that is why, obviously, they are the first who are responding to the urges of help. And that is why it has its positive consequences. And I would like also to note that it was quite a right step to do within the context of that 100% of funds of people in banks is secured. And hypothetically, if we consider or assume that during war in 3 months after our victory, then the state will be able to guarantee it 100%. Before that, this kind of advantage had only Bank, and starting from this year, they Miss Olena, are you here? Okay, we will wait until our signal will be okay with Olena. And I would like to remind Olena Korobkova, she is the chair of the board of the Independent Association of the Banks of Ukraine.
Ми повернемо.
And we will come back to you as soon as the signal will be back. I'm sorry for this technical inconvenience. Please stay with us.
Так, я вас чую. І бачу пане Наталію.
So, Miss Olena, can we continue? Yes, of course. I'm glad to see you back. So, due to technical issues, we made a pause, but we would like to continue that conversation. And now, coming to another question. So, after the jumps of exchange rate, what are the broadcasts for the long term and short term of the currency? How will the currency policy change? Well, okay, let's be honest. It is today to broadcast and to forecast the current exchange rate is quite unthankful task because the reasons because the front line is the primary reason that and anticipated terrorist attacks are the first one who influence exchange rate. So concurrently to that, I would like to mention that our national bank has done and is still doing quite comprehensive steps, and right now we see a result because we managed to hold hryvnia from devaluation and to keep international reserves on the affordable level in order to sustain 3 months export. And right now, on the 21st of October, the National Bank of Ukraine started the new mechanism of dollar deposits. Before that, we had the limitations of 50,000 hryvnias that could be possible to change to exchange into dollars and and to place currency deposit. Right now, it is increased to 100,000 hryvnias in the equivalent, and right now they got rid of this limitation. So it basically means as long as you have hryvnias, you can give a bank an order and buy within the course of National Bank dollars and put it on your deposit with a course 36.57 to put it on your deposit for as minimum as half a year. And within half a year, if the official exchange rate of the National Bank will change, your money will be protected. And if, for example, right now it is allegedly 38.57, you will receive your hryvnias, but besides the deposit percentages, you will receive more exchange rate. So it does not give additional load to international reserves, but it gives the assurance to clients on saving of their funds and to keep them from devaluation. So this is one of the instruments and quite a good one, and many of the banks are working in the direction of launching this instrument. So what can one see there on the bank market regarding deposits and credits? Did Ukrainians started to use these proposals more? Well, regarding the capabilities of Ukrainians, recently we did together with MBG UFC a research. So Ukrainians became more interested who in the topic who out of all the banks does more credits, because basically the crediting was stopped. But those banks that are offering right now their credit lines, so the clients are more than willing to use them. And today, let's put it this way: if before the war we had many banks who gave credits, right now um, it is it is altered with the fact that there is too many programs for enterprises, for agrarian sector, and a new program of 7% interest rate is implementing a new home program, also programs for military servicemen, law enforcement, doctor and teachers, and the first credits has already been issued, and starting from the next year this program will be broadened for the more circle of people for who is about to buy the first house or those who lost their house. It will be a little more than 7%, but still it will be quite good conditions for crediting. And that is why when it comes to deposits, what we received is the following. The interest rate within the deposits, they increased, and approximately in June it stopped, and as at 20th of October, the interest rate for the 3 months deposits increased into 5%. In some of the banks, the interest rate regarding the deposits is more than from 3 to 6 months is 15/20%. Also, what is important is the Ministry of Finances has increased the interest rate from 16.5% for the last auctions, and also the forecast of the National Bank is anticipating the keeping of refinancing rate on the level of 25% at least till the second quarter of 2024, and this is favorable for the next increase, for the following increase of deposit rates, in order to keep your funds in hryvnia and allows some kind of stability and understanding regarding what will be happening on the market in the nearest future. And when we're talking about refinancing rate, the one that you talked in June that increased to 25%, how did it influence the bank market? How did the bank market change and during this period? Well, as the interest rate was increased, and the last week National Bank remained it without any changes. The thing is that this is needed for protection of international reserves and for keeping the control on influential dynamics. And it is important to keep assuring the profit of hryvnia deposits for a long time. And that is why there were several positions regarding maybe we should preserve it step by step. The question of increasing the interest rate, but as we can see, we stopped the utilizing of our international reserve. We and from the point of view of the future broadcast, that is quite a good one. And also and as it right now, it covers 100%. So this instrument covers 100% our inflation rate, almost covers it. And the fact that National Bank is stating regarding that it all remains without changes, it gives some kind of assurance in the future and to the understanding how the banks are supposed to design their products and how what the interest rates within the deposit should be, and it can and the interest rate of the deposit can increase up to 24%. So 15-20%, which we have right now for the 3-6 months deposits. This is not the financial state. Maybe there is some kind of increase in and growth in deposits, and it might be even more attractive. So despite the financial instability of Ukraine, some portion of our population has fears to put their funds in the banks, or how did the trust to Ukrainians to the bank system change? Well, I would say banks are still not using with cryptocurrency when it comes to bank metals. And regarding the selling of coins and metals, this is not quite, I would say, this is an instrument that is for a long-term perspective, and this is more about future insurance. So rank and file citizens are interested in the interest rates, quick access to this money, and I can say that the same situation was there with COVID. when many of our people simply were trying to take their money from the bank. They took it, they keep it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then again they came to the banks and put them on their deposits. And all in all, today, this is a more attractive instrument. And for the period of war, approximately up to 20% increased the deposit backpack basically increased. So we see that our people still have assurance and trust to our bank system, and we are trying to do our best to help those people who are coming out of Ukraine. We are helping them to with the exchange rate to the currency of the countries they are going to, and there is a lot of back communication from our Ukrainians who are there abroad, and we can state that our bank system is the most digitalized, is the most comfortable to deal with. Everything is quite clear, quite understandable. The apps on the smartphones are quite easy to understand. It is really cool thing to use them, and they're quite fast. And in other banks, even more in other countries, even more developed than Ukraine, cannot be proud of this. So you said about Ukrainians who had to leave Ukraine and go abroad. How do Ukrainian banks serve these clients? And I mean those bank clients who have plastic cards and whose period of usage is expiring. So this question is already resolved. Basically, we prolonged the period of usage of these cards. So even if the usage time of the card is coming to an end, you still can use it. So the bank, the ATM's machine will not take them in, and although there is some portion of banks who, within their mobile apps, provided the option of producing cards on your smartphone. It basically means that if you have a smartphone app, you can make a card on your smartphone to attach it to Google Pay or Apple Pay and simply be able to use it anywhere. So right now, these kind of technologies are as following: that no need for you to have a physical card. It can be a card that is there on your mobile phone. Can you please tell more about the comparable conditions of cooperation between Ukrainian banks and Ukrainians who are there abroad? What is what does it anticipate? And I mean, as we know, Ukrainians can count, and Ukrainians can still pay with Ukrainian currency abroad. Yes, indeed, we had quite fixed exchange rate on the level of 29.25. This was done for a period of 5 months after the invasion. First of all, it was done in order to make it possible for people to pay free and openly in the countries where they go to, because obviously when they are coming outside of Ukraine, they have to find a space, a place to live, to be registered somewhere. So basically, they have their kind of day-to-day household expenditures, and they need money to organize their well-being and life in a new manner in a new country. And that is why, for a long time, there were the estimations, for example, to make 100,000 a day with the currency cards, and when it comes to hryvnia cards, to make 100,000 hryvnias per month. Right now, one can take with ATM machine no more than 12.5 thousand hryvnias daily. So basically, 3,000 euros is enough to organize and for keeping the free and comfortable life in any country. Well, obviously, at the beginning of the war, people were coming out of Ukraine, and they had more necessity of their spendings outside of the country. And right now, according to the statistics, approximately 10 million of people have been there abroad from Ukraine, and these are mostly aged people or women with children. Basically, they have organized their household, and they are donating from abroad to Ukraine, and they are waiting for the victory that will allow them to come back home. At the end, we would like to come back to the increase of refinancing rate. We talked about when and on what conditions should we expect the declining of refinancing rate. Well, so if we take into account that obviously there should be some conditions for that. First of all, the good news there at the front line. Secondly, this is the declining of inflation, because inflation target is something that is taking place in Ukraine because refinancing rate is being built on inflational rate. If we take a look at the broadcast and forecast of National Bank in this case, after the last committee meeting, stated that even if there will be a need to, they are ready to increase refinancing rate and to continue usage of additional measures on protection of international reserves and to keep control of influential processes. Right now, the forecast regarding the second quarter of 2024, the refinancing rate will be on the level of 25%. Okay, thank you so much. That was Olena Korobkova, the chair of the board of the Independent Association of the Banks of Ukraine. Miss Olena, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you so much for you too. And as of right now, that's all we have. Please follow us on Mediacentru Ukraine announce board, and we became one.